Thank you for joining me today. Well, today I'm going to go in a little more depth on my microscope and camera setup. I kind of like over here is everything that would come with the Amscope camera, and this is everything over here that came with the microscope. So when I'm using this setup, I'm using my 25x wide fields. Also came with two 10x 18 millimeters. I haven't had to use this, but I think this is for like since it's trinocular, something to do with the C-scope. This is my immersion oil that, yeah, I need to get more. So I don't use this until I get like over 1000x. I'll refer to it sometimes as an oil lens, so you automatically know I'm up over 1000x using it. And then this is a little kit that came in the VEVOR microscope. It also came with a mount for your cell phone. The Amscope 6.8-inch screen comes with two USB cables. This one is for power, so you can plug this one in and then run your screen. And this one over here runs to the computer and it'll also power it. But then if you set up your computer to run this disk that comes with it, then you can use your computer screen also. And I'd like to get into more learning about that. And that's kind of what this channel's for. I like to learn more. I'm not very computer savvy at all. Like as the channel grows, and we'll discover new things together and have fun while doing it. I took some advice and I got a lapel mic. It comes with like its little wind socks. And so basically I plug this piece into my phone, and they have magnetic backs. They also have magnetic clip backs. So then you take your lapel mic and use your magnet on the back to hold it to your shirt. So I figured a good time to try it because I haven't been using it, and because before we go any further, I got to reset up everything, get my tables in here, my lift tables and all that, and then we can get looking at some Hyphal and go a little bit more in depth with this microscope. See you there. So we're back, and I used my 70% isopropyl alcohol, wiped down all my surfaces, my dishes, everything. This is basically how, when I'm setting up breeding projects, I like to go my workload right to left. So I will hang up my scalpels up here. Right now I got all the blades facing that way, and I would, if you decide to run scalpels on your flow hood, I would highly recommend, when they're not in use, to always point your scalpels away. I have a dead space over here, and there's something hard there, so I don't have to worry about doing something and ow. I learned from experience on that one. Another thing I learned is last night, first time this happened to me, I was cleaning slides, and I was basically cleaning them off like that, and I must have pressed too hard in the center, and I broke one of my slides, and that's what cut the heck out of my thumb. So I quickly learned, put your finger in the middle of that slide and give it some support if you're going to clean against that. Other than that, you can flex it and you're going to get cut just like I did. There's some more things I want to go over with the microscope, but I think it would flow better as we continue our project. As I use the microscope, I'll try to go in more detail what I'm doing. So on the last video, we had this plate where we took some subcultures and transferred it. We also looked at the hyphae under the scope didn't find no clamps. Since we didn't find no clamps, this is a haploid dish that cannot fruit, that's always supporting one nucleus. This culture needs to mate with either another haploid or another dikaryotic mycelium that can fruit, that will allow it to obtain the other nucleus. Since this is a haploid, and you can see by the two transfers, we did a high and low nutrient plates. The morphologies are pretty identical, sporting that comatose mycelium. This plate here was the ones that we checked because it was our T0 plate, which was our grab and drag plate. We did a slide off this to confirm that it had clamps. So this plate can produce fruits. I also used this plate, since it was dikaryotic and can produce fruit, in an experiment. And I'll go more in depth on this experiment in another video. But you can see I got a treated plate here, and it's treated right there. And I wanted to see if the mycelium would react to the treatment, and you can see how it kind of flattened out. And I noticed when it did this, it came up to that part of the plate and wanted to shoot out the side, and this one shooted out the side, and it really hasn't encroached more to that treatment area. It flatlined and is starting to grow out away from it. So that gives me an idea. It's worth an experiment to do. So we'll set these plates aside. We're not going to need them. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to double check and make sure that these two plates are haploid also. I have some other plates that we can compare the morphology to. So on our left, we have a haploid monokaryon, and then over here we have a dikaryotic plate. And you can see the difference in the morphologies. This is a lot more rhizomorphic, but also nutrients also plays a big key in that morphology also. So these two plates can fruit a mushroom, and these two can't, but we're going to confirm that. I'm gonna clean my hands up and unwrap our plates. So I have a slide that I cleaned off last night, and these cover slips you will never have to clean, as far as I experienced. All right, so we're going to get our, I like to run multiple scalpels at a time. I used to have a lot of problems with bent tips, and then I took like these little filters and I put them down in there to kind of cushion the tip. It's been helping out pretty good. Usually I like to have the alcohol go right up to where I'm also holding. And then since I use multiple scalpels, when I sanitize my scalpel, I go up where I'm going to hold the handle and then slowly pull it out, wringing that alcohol down to the tip. And there's the little sizzle, and then we heat this tip up, and and I put it up in the purified flow. So there's our scalpel. Move our slide. And one of the things I'm going to do right now is, while I'm waiting for the scalpels to cool a little bit, is if you look underneath the microscope, you have your fine magnification, and then you have your big magnification wheel. And what I do before I start, instead of having like your fine screwed all in so you have a lot of excess to one side and none on, and not very much on the other side, I just try to even everything up so then I don't have any run out or possibility of it. And then always start out on the lower magnification, but sometimes I will skip it if I'm running pretty much the same specimen where I have an idea what I'm looking at without using the lower magnification. Sometimes when you run these type cameras, you have to adjust it using this tube. And like if I'm looking in my eyepieces and I'm all in focus, a lot of times not up here is in focus. So what I use is I use a 2X, and I will get it in to focus by adjusting the height. Like I think I'm on the third bar down. It's still not identical what I'm seeing in there, but there is some benefits once you start identifying the hyphae over time. It'll come easier. So let's get our samples ready for the microscope. Since I sterilized the top scalpel, I will use that for my first slide because it is cooler than the rest. So I'm going to just go out to the leading edge and get a sample about the size of a grain of rice. And then add that to my slide. And try to keep it in the center of my cover slip as I am performing a squash mount. So you look inside that halo right there, that is our sample. So now we have it on our lowest objective. I will add the slide, and then what I do is I'll brighten up the light, use my mechanical stage, I don't know if you can see it on there, like if I go past it, it's got a different light than when I'm in it. So we'll turn on the microscope camera. I'll try to get it to come in focus. So we're getting a little bit of focus up there. And I think a lot of this has to do to the limitations of this. So we are going to go up our next objective. And there we go, we're getting it to come in focus. So I'm kind of using the condenser. And I can kind of see pretty good while looking in the microscope, but it's not, doesn't have as much definition up here on the screen that it does through the optics. So let's go up. See if we get a little more definition. Now this is a Hyphal we're looking at. And there's our first septa with no clamp. Might be one over here too. Let's see what's up on that top one. No, those are all vacuoles. Might be a septia, another septum up here. There's another septum. Oh, there's a couple of them. See, we're gonna kind of have to make an adjustment here. See if I can just clear up a little bit more. There's another septum right there. Another septum right there. See, right there I thought was one, but that was a vacuole. A little tricky, guys. They trick you. Another septum with no clamp. And another septum with no clamp. Another septum, no clamp. And I'm going to jump all the way down the bottom. We'll get a better setup eventually. Be nice once I start learning how to use the computer. That might be a septa, but the way that fluid's sitting there, it's kind of making me think it's a vacuole. But that's a septa with no clamp. So we're seeing just about every septa we see, we don't have any clamps, and that's what we want. Get a couple more before we switch slides. Let's bring this up a little bit. Ooh, that kind of sharpened it up a little. Oh, I like that. And look how that septa showed right up. And I even went through a couple of them to show that one. So, with what we're seeing there, with all these septas, no clamps, our low nutrient T2 plates are looking really good. So I'm just going to mark it. No clamps, 1219. We just checked it. So let's prepare another slide and check the other one. What I'll do is I'll pull this slide right out. We'll spin it around and we can use it again. That's all you need, just a little bit. Put that sample in the middle. Finger squash down. And there's our sample. Mount that into the microscope. We'll move our camera. This would be nice eventually, getting this set up to do all on the computer screen and not have to move and run the split screen. It's going to be so sweet. Alrighty, so we got our slide in. And let's, coming in a little better. And now we'll go up to 1000x. There we go. Now we're coming back into focus. Oh, look at that. Boom. There's our first Hyphal with no clamps. Got a couple more right in the same spot. We had that one up there. Another septa, no clamp. Right there's a septa, no clamp, and there's another one up there. I would say that one there's another vacuole. Now we'll go all the way to the other side of the slide. Right there and right there is another septa with no clamps. And there's the last, no septa, no clamp, septa, no clamp. So now we just confirmed our low nutrient plate and our high nutrient plate are both haploids. And this is where the fun begins. So now that we got our haploid plates, also I want to make clear, I usually take 2 times to 3 times the length to confirm these plates when I'm using them for my breeding projects. I just looked enough on here to kind of give you an idea of what to look for. And there's times where, just like last time, I checked this once, didn't have clamps, started producing this different type of mycelium that's almost looking like it's becoming an overlay. And that's what that darker mycelium was. So 11:30 I checked it, no clamps. Checked the different type of mycelium on 12:2, no clamps. So there's nothing saying that I probably won't check these again. So now we have 2 confirmed haploids. We could put this one on a plate, that one on a plate, and they will mate and be able to fruit. But we can also mate with a dikaryon. This one has 2 nucleuses. The haploid has 1. Put these 2 together on a plate. The dikaryon will donate a nucleus, and you'll have characteristics of the parents, and it'll be a combination of the genetics of the 2. Since this has, the dikaryon has the 2 nuclei, which one you're going to get? I don't. That's something I always wondered. So we have some plates where we can make these haploids. If I can get the dang grafting tape off. Yeah, this is why I like when they come off. Like, alrighty. So, see, we can even go further. We could take our haploid on low nutrient plate and put it on a high nutrient plate. Or we can do another low nutrient. So what I want to do is we're going to mate this with a toque haploid monokaryon. We're going to orientate our plate so we know which is what, and I'll just orientate it with the H. And then we'll put T for Timbit over here. And TF9 for toque F9 monokaryon. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting out past the edge to try to keep all those hyphal tips extending. Instead of cutting them off. Will it help? I don't know, but we'll see. So there's our toque. And here is our timbet. And there we go. So we have our timbet over here, and we have our toque over here, and eventually they will grow together and they will create a barrage line where the hyphae fuse together and exchange the nuclei, so this plate can fruit. I'm also going to make sure that I can tell the difference between these, because I'm going to do an A and B plate. So those plates are all done. And now we're going to do a Buller cross, where we're going to take a single nucleus haploid and mate it with a dikaryon. So the dikaryon can donate a nucleus to the haploid, allowing it to produce its offspring. So we'll mark our plates again. And line. And on this side, we're going to mate it with our Melmac over here on this side. And then we're going to take our timbet and put it on the other side. Got to line my line back up again. And there we go. There's our Buller cross. So we have a Buller cross over here, a dikaryon and a haploid, and then over here we have a monokaryon and a monokaryon. So we got two haploids. So this one over here would be called a Mon-Mon cross, and this one over here would be considered a Di-Mon cross. See how they do. I hope I helped with the microscope. I'm kind of limited in this area. It's kind of really tight, and as I get better and grow more, eventually I have more room. We've used the Amscope screen over here, but we still got to learn how to do the laptop camera, and I think we'll get even more definition than what we can get out of this camera. And I'm excited to start learning it and sharing my journey with you. So I'll leave it at here today. We got 2 crosses. We looked at some septas, looking for no clamps. We confirmed our plates. So I think this was very successful today, and I am very grateful to have you with me. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.